Our story begins a long time ago before the age of technology and the rise of TikTok with a man by the name of Abraham. The world had been stricken by the witchery of many false idols, unaware of the ties of their creation until the one called Almighty presented itself to an unsuspecting Abraham with an important mission in mind. God spoke to Abraham and asked him to join his super cool club called a covenant, and in return would God promise Abraham to make of him a great nation. Not only would he inherit a new life for himself, but his future children as well would create nations of their very own. And so, Abraham left his home and traveled far away to a land that God showed him known as Canaan, a location that would ultimately be recognized as the Holy Land. And it was so. Of course, after Abraham fulfilled his obligation as a prophet and was gifted with wonderful children that Abraham attempted to sacrifice, but other than almost killing his own child, it is through them that many great nations have come to be. Recognized as Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam have all came to be born from the legacy of Abraham, but rather than sharing the Holy Land as brothers and sisters, a rivalry of siblings have taken toll, and now there is a vicious fight over the Holy Land. As the Holy Land stands today, the Jewish descendants of Abraham have returned back after almost 2,000 years of persecution with the hopes of creating a Jewish state. The Arab community, however, consisting of mostly Muslim heritage, had difficulty accepting their return, notably after recognizing how unfair the land would be divided. Numerous confrontations have ensued between siblings, and now the Israelites have attained control of most of the land that makes the Holy Land, but the fate of the Palestinians that once inhabited the land remain at the center of the conflict. And now the Middle East remains in shambles, and in its foundations lies religion as the dividing factor. But for Mark Goppin, is religion also the missing piece needed to bring peace back to the Holy Land? Although there have been countless conversations in trying to establish peace in the Holy Land, one of the primary reasons why various attempts have failed so far is in not recognizing the degree to how much religion is at play among the conflicts. Rather than looking elsewhere for possible solutions, the adopted peacemaking process should integrate the relevant cultural values of the people involved and engage with the rituals of reconciliation already in place within the region. Only by understanding the culture of the individuals affected can we get a glimpse to what the underlying issues truly are. Whereas religion has been used as a tool for much of the chaos in the Middle East, religion itself can be reworked and shaped in a manner to bring peace back to the Holy Land. Goppin believes that because Abrahamic religions share so many similarities that we can use these parallels in a manner to unite and merge religious traditions. Even more, their heritage with Abraham as the founder for all three religions connects them in a manner where they are essentially family, even though they fight with one another from time to time just like any family does. Nonetheless, reconciliation can always be found through moments of arguments, and Abraham might be the key to solving it. Even the stories we share, or as Goppin refers to as religious myths, can be used to bring peace as well. As a consensus, religious groups must decide which myths are dangerous and no longer support them in exchange for myths that are positive and used for good. One of the reasons why parties have expressed anger towards each other is by advocating specific verses from their respected sacred texts that express such violence. In theory, one should rather focus on the verses that promote peace from Quran or Bible and popularize them to change the views of all involved. It doesn't stop in just changing myths, as the peace process should focus on not achieving political goals, but rather on relationships and visions. By not being able to understand one another and finding the things that could bring upon harmony, politics cannot fully satisfy the needs of everyone. It requires an understanding between religions and an ability to address the cultural dimensions of a conflict that has distorted perceptions and bred intolerance. For instance, the Bible claims that Jews have ownership of the land, which has been a reason to justify their return to the Holy Land. The Quran, on the other hand, claims that Jews have lost their covenant and the land belongs to them now. Both sides have been told through religious conviction that they, and only they, have ownership of the land, although sharing is always a possibility. A different hurtful phenomenon that occurs among humankind is an othering of individuals who don't exactly follow the same religious beliefs. Nothing gets done by purposefully differentiating someone from yourself, and rather, we should connect on the similarities we do have. Gopin sees remythification as the best way to fight against othering by simply reworking held beliefs to a more peaceful alternative can be an amazing direction in reconsidering how one should treat others. Although the past cannot be changed unless you have a time machine, forgiveness always can. A lot of the past conflicts between all Abrahamic religions have lingered to the present, and all that bad energy has to be forgiven. Gopin recommends that a mourning process has to occur where the past no longer outweighs the possibilities of the future. Ways in which religious communities cope with individual moral failure include repentance, apology, active penance, and offerings of forgiveness. All Abrahamic religions have the tools embedded in their foundation to cope against any moral conflict, whether it be showing remorse or even apologizing for their part of the conflict, all which can be shared to bring trust with one another. The last section of Gopin's observation provides helpful ideas of peacemaking that can be carried through by all Abrahamic religions. Not only can dialogue and verbal communication be helpful in enriching one's bond, but nonverbal cues and symbolism are important as well. In many cases, actions that show honor or offer the enemy dignity, safety, or a feeling of home can mean much more than words. These cross-cultural processes of relationship building should accompany more formal negotiations. Communication between moderates so that people hear the voices of average people on the other side. Further, these voices have to be heard in the realm of politics. There is also a need to foster greater communication between moderates so that people hear the voices of average people on the other side. Unless these voices are heard, the chance of finding peace in the Holy Land becomes more difficult. In the end, the only hope for a better future comes in accepting our differences and creating a path where we can all journey as friends.